is solid. I can tell you right now that it is. More girls, more rings, more dancing. It's all part of the performance to make the trick seem even bigger than it really is. The magician looks for just the right assistant to levitate. Sometimes a magician will select someone from the audience. That person is known as a shill and is always in on the trick. What a shock. He chooses the assistant that just happens to be wearing the long flowing gown. Her dress is an important part of the illusion. The magician gazes into her eyes as if to put her into a deep trance. This is to convince you he's a master hypnotist. The assistant acts as if she's under our magician's hypnotic powers. He puts her on the table and her body appears to go limp. Now the levitation begins. It appears as if she's floating in midair. Obviously, this is impossible. He moves his hand underneath her body to show that nothing is supporting her. Now he moves the ring completely around her, proving she isn't being suspended by wires or cables. Remember, as we told you before, the ring is solid. The magician makes it appear as if he's using his hands to guide her down. Slowly, she floats back to her original position and is brought out of her hypnotic trance. Now, for all of you playing at home, here's how it's done. First, in order to levitate, you don't need to be put into a trance. All you need is some heavy machinery and the right evening gown. Look closely. When our assistant's dress is not draped properly, you can see that she's actually lying on top of a 3-foot wide platform. The platform is black, so you won't be able to see it against our curtain. It's attached to a hydraulic forklift positioned behind the curtain. When the magician gives the cue, the magical forklift operator raises and lowers the platform. It's not very magical when you see how it's done. Now, what about the solid metal ring? It looks like it passes completely around the assistant. But this is merely an example of sleight of hand. He's only making it appear as if the ring is going all the way around her. From the back, we can see that the bar attached to the forklift prevents the ring from going all the way around the assistant's body. It's the magician's sleight of hand that makes it look as if it really did. And that's the secret behind this classic illusion. Sorry to bring you back down to earth, but this is the only way to levitate. Without a doubt, Houdini was the greatest escape artist who ever lived. Since then, thousands of magicians have repeated his death-defying escapes. You're about to find out how they're done. The magician is put into a straitjacket. This is a real straitjacket, the kind you'd find at any good asylum. It would be virtually impossible for anyone to get out of it. The straps are securely fastened. Then the magician is loaded into a large box. As he struggles with the straitjacket, the lid is put into place. Now his assistants chain it down and drill it shut. The box is rigged with explosives. He has less than a minute to get out. Again, the obligatory dancing. You'll notice that the assistants are all dressed exactly alike. There's a reason for this. We'll tell you why in a minute. What appears to be a stick of dynamite is attached to the box. The fuse is lit. The tension is mounting. Our magician has only a few seconds left to get out. Even though the audience knows this is only an illusion, it's still pretty convincing. For a second, you actually think it could be real. But you've been fooled. He's not only escaped from the straitjacket in the box, he's now in a different part of the warehouse. Here's how he did it. First for the straitjacket. As the magician is buckled into the straitjacket, he keeps his arms stiff and away from his body, giving him enough slack to eventually escape. Even using this technique, getting out of the straitjacket won't be easy. This part of the trick requires lots of practice. Let's take a look inside the box. As you can see, that extra slack is really coming in handy. Remember, timing is critical. Our magician has less than 60 seconds to remove the straitjacket and exit the box before it's lifted into the air and blown up. Now, remember when we told you about the assistants' outfits? Well, you're about to find out why they're all dressed alike. Inside the box, and now free from the straitjacket, our magician puts on a black jumpsuit that's been hidden inside. It's exactly the same as those worn by his assistants. Then he slips out a trapdoor at the back of the box. He puts on a matching cap, complete with long, fake hair. Now he's disguised as one of his assistants. This is where the dynamite comes in. It's not only used to create tension, but also to serve as a diversion, allowing our magician to sneak away. See him crouching down there? He runs up a flight of stairs and gets into position just before the explosion. When the smoke clears, he steps out of his hiding place and onto a nearby catwalk. Bet you didn't know that's how it's done.
For more of Magic's biggest secrets, call 1-800-230-5557 for a cassette of tonight's program featuring never-before-seen footage and a special bonus trick. Next, the secret of sawing a woman in half and how to make a 7,000-pound elephant disappear when Magic's biggest secrets are found.
5 minutes, we're going to show you how this illusion is done and more. An all-new Magic Secrets Revealed 2, next on Fox.
Before we continue, I must tell you that everyone working on this program has been sworn to secrecy. If our magician's identity is revealed, he may be blackballed from the magic community, and it could mean the end of his career. Let's go back inside. We've all seen this next trick. It's called the 3-cube box. As always, a little performance helps our magician make the illusion seem more spectacular than it really is. One of the assistants steps inside the box and the magician closes and locks the doors. For effect, he checks his blades to prove to the audience that they're solid. Then he hands his assistant a red handkerchief. This is to help sell the illusion. He feigns resistance, as if the blades are actually cutting into it. But we know that can't be happening because the assistant is still smiling, even though the blades appear to be passing right through her. Now for the second blade. Again, he pretends to be having a tough time pushing it through. She waves in order to show that those hands are really hers. The middle section of the box is slid apart. The hanky's moving. She's still alive. The magician gives you a look at all sides of the box. Then he waves his hand through the missing portion to prove that the trick isn't done with mirrors. It appears that her middle is gone. He pushes the box back into place. One at a time, the blades are removed. He unlocks the door, and our assistant gets out. All in one piece. To show you how this trick is done, we've removed the middle section of the box. You won't believe how simple this one is. First, our assistant steps into the box, and our magician locks her inside. Then all she does is turn her body sideways and suck in her stomach. Now notice the blades. The handle is considerably wider than the blade itself, an important fact that is concealed by magicians. This creates the illusion that the blades are the same width as the box and are cutting into the assistant. But we can tell that she's really not in any danger. Now the second blade is inserted into the box. It slides right past her leg. When the magician moves the middle section across, we can see that our assistant's body never moves. Instead, the box moves around her. Take another look in slow motion. Another key to the trick is this vertical strip. Because it's black, it blends in perfectly with the black background, making it appear that the center box has moved further than it really has. Pretty simple, huh? The box is put back together, and the illusion is complete. Here's a trick that you can buy at any magic store. It's known as the linking rings. First, the magician shows you that the rings are solid. They sure look solid. Somehow he hooks two of them together. Then he magically separates them. Again, solid, yet together. He does the same trick again, only this time with 3 rings. He puts them together. Then he takes them apart. Do you know how he did it? Actually, you won't believe how simple it is. While our magician appears to be forcing the rings together, it's really just sleight of hand. See? There's a tiny gap in one of the rings, which he conceals in the palm of his hand. Since the hand is quicker than the eye, we need to watch in slow motion. Bet you didn't see that the first time, did you? Separating the rings simply requires more sleight of hand. Although it looks like the rings are still linked together, they were actually unhooked a moment earlier. Here's the move. And the rings are now apart. And that's the secret of the linking rings. Now for a more complicated illusion, the masked magician will show you how the famous metamorphosis trick is done. He begins by pounding on a wooden crate to prove that the sides are solid. Definitely a real crate. Right on cue, Here comes the assistant. She is put inside a large red bag, which is tied tightly at the top, making it seem like she can't get out. Now the bag is placed into the crate. The lid is put on and fastened down with ropes. Sometimes magicians will use chains or locks. It doesn't matter. It's all an illusion. To prove that the crate is solid enough to support his weight, the magician stands on top of it. Then the curtain is raised, and he gets inside. The curtain goes down, and he begins to flirt with his assistants. The curtain goes up again. More diversionary tactics. The curtain goes up for the last time. And magically, the magician is turned into one of his assistants. Remember? She was the one inside the bag. Now it's time to open the crate. The ropes are untied. And who do you think is inside the bag? You got it. The masked magician. How did he do it? Like we told you, this one's pretty complicated. To help you understand, here's a better look. We saw the assistant being placed into a large red bag, which was tied at the top. What you didn't realize is the bottom of the bag has a zipper. She's unzipping it right now. Once the assistant gets out of the bag, she reaches through a hole in the bottom of the crate and pulls on the rope to make it seem as if the lid is tightly secured. It really isn't. The extra slack will later allow her to slide the lid off the crate and make a quick escape. See? When the curtain goes up for the first time, the assistant climbs out and hides between the curtain and the crate, while the magician puts one foot inside. The curtain goes up again, and in goes the other foot. As the curtain goes up for the third time, he quickly climbs inside and closes the lid, as his assistant is revealed on top of the crate. The timing has to be just right in order to look like an instant metamorphosis. Our magician scrambles to get inside the bag while his assistants rush to untie the ropes. He doesn't have to worry about zipping up the bag since his feet are obscured from view. And that's how it's done.
Coming up next, how to saw a woman in half and the secret behind making an elephant vanish right before your very eyes.
Premieres Wednesday, March 11th.
We've all seen a magician saw a woman in half. Now we're going to show you how it's done. The first thing you need is a willing assistant. Of course, it has to seem like she's not willing. After all, who wants to be sawed in half? The assistant is shackled at the neck and ankles. This is to make it look like she can't move. Special boxes are then put in place and strapped to the table. The doors are opened so we can see the assistant trapped inside. This is one of the things that makes this trick so effective. Finally, her hands are tied. She's not going anywhere. The doors are closed. Now, here comes the saw. This is a real saw. The blade is very sharp. But as you'll see later, that doesn't matter. The magician and his assistant make it appear as if they're sawing through her body. Sometimes this will be embellished by screams coming from the assistant inside the box. The saw is removed, but our magician isn't done yet. More blades are inserted through the center of the box. He makes it seem like he hit bone, but if this were really happening, the assistant would be dead. Now for the amazing part of the trick, the assistant is split in half and made dizzy just for good measure. Sometimes you'll see feet sticking out the other end of the box. These are fake feet that move by remote control. The boxes are put back together and the blades are pulled out. The straps are untied. The boxes are removed. And there she is, still shackled to the table. The shackles are unlocked, and from here you can see that her stomach looks just fine. Now for the moment of truth. Here's how it's done. First, the assistant must appear to be completely immobilized. This is the key to the entire illusion. Check out the leg restraints. It's supposed to look like no one could get out of them. But watch. There's just enough room for her to slip free. It takes a really limber assistant to pull off a trick like this. Once the box is closed, she quickly gets out of her shackles and folds her body into the top half of the box, just in time to avoid the blade. This is actually pretty dangerous. The timing must be just right, because the assistant has no way to signal to the magician that she's clear of the saw. To enhance the illusion, the boxes are spun around while the assistant remains curled up inside the top half of the box. After the boxes are put back together, the assistant slips her feet back into the restraints, making it seem as if she's been locked in the entire time. The boxes are removed. The shackles are unlocked. And that's the trick. We told you it was simple. Now for one of magic's most basic tricks, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Nothing up his sleeve. The hat is empty. He tosses it into the air to show you that the rabbit isn't hidden inside. He unfolds the red scarf. This is merely a diversion. Watch closely. He reaches into his hat and... presto, little white bunny. Here's how it's done. First, a very small rabbit is carefully placed inside a specially designed black handkerchief. Don't worry, the rabbit is perfectly comfortable. It is in no danger of being harmed. The handkerchief is then hung behind the magician's table. If you're wondering, the reason why magicians work with rabbits instead of cats or other small animals is that rabbits naturally sit still. When the magician picks up the hat, he also picks up the rabbit and puts it inside. Take another look in slow motion. The hat goes up, and in goes the rabbit. Now watch again and see if you can spot when the rabbit is put inside the hat. Did you see it? The magician reaches inside the concealed handkerchief and releases the rabbit. And there you have it. Just that simple. You've probably seen the sword in the basket trick 1,000 times. Now we're going to show you how it's done. Our assistant brings out the basket and gets ready to climb inside. The magician claps his hands to signal the beginning of the illusion. First, the assistant is covered with a black curtain. You'll find out why in a minute. The magician pushes the assistant down into the basket. The lid is put in place and the swords are brought out. They are not fakes. They are real swords and they are very sharp. He drives the swords all the way through the basket. It seems that they are cutting into our assistant. But if that were true, not even Fox would show you that. Notice the artistry. He makes it appear as if he's plunging the swords right into his assistant. It now seems that there are too many swords in the basket for anyone to survive. One by one, the magician removes the swords from the basket. No blood. That's always a good sign. Once the swords are removed, the magician covers the basket with a black curtain. Then he steps inside. This is to try to convince you that the basket is empty. If you're wondering what happened to our assistant, you're about to find out. The magician steps out of the basket and... What's this? Could it be... Yes, it's our lovely assistant, without a scratch on her. How did our assistant avoid becoming a human shish kebab? Actually, this is one of the easiest tricks. No smoke or mirrors required. First, while covered with the black curtain, our assistant makes it appear as if she's having a tough time fitting inside the basket. However, without the curtain, we can see that she's merely spreading her arms to create the illusion of size. There's actually plenty of room for her inside. Once she's in position, the lid is put in place. Back inside the basket, the assistant waits for the swords. Now for the blades. Remember, these swords are very sharp. With our mini camera, we can see that the assistant knows exactly where the swords are going and helps guide them safely through the basket. There's no room for error. One wrong move could result in serious injury. Now the final sword. Look how close it comes to stabbing our assistant. Once all the swords are put in place, the process is reversed and the swords are carefully removed. This is also very dangerous. Our assistant has to protect herself from the swords as they are pulled out of the basket. The magician covers the basket again. Then he steps inside, making it appear that it's empty. In reality, our assistant simply shifts her body to create enough room to accommodate our magician's feet and legs. Here's another look from our mini camera. See, there's plenty of room. The magician steps out of the basket. Now with the curtain back on, the assistant emerges from the basket and magically reappears, unharmed. So the next time you see this trick performed, you'll know how they did it.
When we return, the incredible secret behind making an elephant disappear when magic's biggest secrets are finally revealed.
Oh, Mama,
Prego is the best. Oh, mama, Prego won the test. Oh, mama, Prego has such zest. Prego beat the rest.
Big news for mamas. Taste tests prove it. Families clearly prefer the thick, rich taste of Prego Traditional to these other sauces. Give your family the best.
Prego tastes the best.
Here it comes.
Relentless power, amazing agility, and a sleek, muscular shape. Introducing the Tiburon. Its name means shark.
Where do you see the red one?
Look out. It's a whole new Hyundai.
You're less than 10 minutes away from all new Magic Secrets revealed on Fox.
Go bed.
This is the episode you've been waiting for.
What if those test results come back and they say that the cancer is still there?
Because Wednesday night,
He's gonna be okay, Bailey.
you'll find out,
I'll call you as soon as I know.
will Charlie live or die? Party of Five, the moment of truth, Wednesday on Fox.
For his final trick, the masked magician will show you how to make an elephant disappear. There's always a lot of pomp and circumstance in building up the excitement for these big tricks, and they don't get any bigger than this. In case you're wondering, that's a real elephant. He weighs 7,000 pounds and stands 9 feet tall. His handlers are there to make sure he doesn't get out of control. It's important to remember that when you're working with wild animals, there's always an element of real danger. The assistants lead the elephant toward the magician. It's going to take a lot of magic to make this big guy disappear. The elephant is slowly moved into position behind the gates of the cage. Again, the assistants do a little dance. The masked magician gives the signal, and with the elephant inside, the gates of the cage are closed. Keep your eye on the elephant. You can clearly see that he's still in the cage. A puff of smoke, and the elephant is gone. But while all this is happening, the elephant never moves. See, he's still in the cage. That deserves another look. First, the elephant is there. Then he's not. Have you figured it out? Well, here's how the trick is done. See the netting at the back of the cage? It looks exactly the same as the netting to the left and to the right of the cage. When the cage is closed, you can clearly see the elephant, as well as the netting behind him. Here's what you don't see. There are mirrors hidden inside each of the bars of the cage. When the magician triggers the explosives, the mirrors slide into place, blocking your view into the cage. You are no longer seeing the elephant and netting inside the cage. Instead, you're seeing a reflection of the netting outside the cage. Meanwhile, the elephant hasn't moved an inch. You can plainly see that he's still in the cage. Let's watch that again. The elephant is inside the cage. When the smoke clears, you're seeing a mirror image of the netting outside the cage. This makes it appear as if the elephant has vanished. Behind the scenes, split-second timing is critical to making the illusion work. On cue, a stagehand pulls a lever that moves the mirrors into place. Here's the trick without the smoke. You can clearly see the elephant disappear as the mirrors shift into position. Now it's time to make the illusion complete. While the audience is mesmerized watching the elephant disappear, his handlers quickly take him out through the netting in the back of the cage. Now when the magician opens the gates, the elephant is really gone. Smoke and mirrors are also used to make other big things disappear. But no matter how large the object, the basic trick remains the same.
Breaking the magician.
Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer are back.
Women speak a different language. They speak estrogenese.
Damon premieres March 22nd on Fox.
There's no turning back as all new magic secrets are revealed right now on Fox.
We're back where it all started. An abandoned warehouse in an undisclosed location where our masked magician is about to reveal more of the amazing secrets behind magic's biggest illusions. Good evening. I'm Mitch Plexie. Since we last met, magicians throughout the country have been outraged. They say we did something wrong and ordered us to stop. Well, guess what? We're going to do it again anyway. Tonight, we'll reveal the truth behind magic's most closely guarded secrets, including the world's most dangerous illusion, Houdini's famous water torture escape. A warning, if you don't want to know how these tricks are done, better switch to another channel right now.
For his first trick, the masked magician will perform an illusion known simply as the crush. The trick is to make it look as if our lovely assistant is being crushed inside this wooden box. As always, we'll start by showing you how the illusion is performed. Then we'll reveal the secrets of how it's actually done. Now for the second box. 2 more assistants step inside and sit down. When the magician gives the cue, a crane lifts the box into the air. Again, the doors are open to prove that there is no extra hiding space at the bottom of the box. It also gives you a chance to see some well-toned midriffs. Notice the first box is mounted on sawhorses, so you can see that the assistant didn't just climb out the back. Remember, this is a world-class magician performing these dangerous tricks. Please do not attempt any of tonight's illusions at home. The box is now slowly lowered, making it appear as if our assistant is being squashed inside the box. But if that were really happening, you'd probably hear her screaming right about now. Once the second box is completely inside the first, the doors are opened again. Let's see. She's not in there. Or there. It looks like our lovely assistant has been crushed under the weight of the second box. But we know there has to be another explanation. Once the doors are closed, the box is lifted back into the air. When the doors are opened again, we see that our lovely assistant has somehow managed to survive. Could it be magic? I don't think so. How did our assistant avoid the crush? Here are the secrets. Although it may look as if our assistant is being smashed, it is merely an optical illusion. We've cut out the side of the box so you can see that the back is actually built at an angle. This creates just enough space for our assistant to squeeze into. You need a very flexible assistant to pull off a trick like this, or things can get pretty messy. As soon as the doors are closed, the assistant moves to the back of the box and gets into position. Watch as she quickly squeezes her body into the tiny space. This must be carefully done, because there is a real danger of being crushed under the weight of the second box. Here's what it looks like inside. Talk about a tight squeeze. Once the doors are closed, the box is lifted back into the air. Now she has enough room to slide back into her original position and finish the trick. The doors are opened, and there she is, lovely as ever. With the help of this very lovely assistant, the masked magician will now create the illusion of teleportation. Most of the time, assistants are used only as a diversion. Not in this case. Here, she is a very important part of the trick. The magician wants you to get a good look at the assistant, and not for just the obvious reasons. He backs her up a flight of stairs and onto a platform. They dance around the top to prove that there is no place to hide. The magician takes out a handkerchief and ties the assistant's arms over her head. In order to make it appear that she is tied really tight, he uses 2 separate knots. He looks back to make sure she can't escape. Then the magician makes his way over to the second platform. He climbs the stairs. Gets into position and gives the cue. The curtains go up. When they come down, our beautiful assistant has magically been transported to the other platform. Physically impossible? Not really. While this is one of magic's most convincing illusions, you'll be surprised at how easily it's done. First, the magician ties a loose slip knot around his assistant's wrists so she can quickly break free and drop to the bottom of the platform. But if she's merely hiding, then how could she be magically transported to another platform 10 feet away? Was it mirrors? A holographic image? Take a look. That's right, identical twins. But you need more than just twins to pull off a trick like this. You also need perfect timing and execution. Notice the illusion is staged on high platforms, so the audience can't see where the other twin is hiding. From this angle, you can see that when the illusion begins, she is already out of sight. The magician ties up our first twin, then makes his way to the other platform. When the curtain is raised, she breaks free and hides in a way only a limber dancer could. On the other platform, her twin sister hides in the exact same position, waiting to make her magical appearance. When the curtain is raised, she stands up, red scarf in hand. A warm hug from our magician, and the illusion is complete. Take another look. With the help of our split screen, you can see the simultaneous action. Virtually all major magicians use twins in their acts. And you thought all they were good for were gum commercials.
Coming up, the amazing secret behind the world's scariest illusion, Houdini's water torture escape. Plus, how to shoot an arrow through a woman's body without drawing a drop of blood.
This week at Rancho La Puerta, I was swung 300.
Now the masked magician will turn one of his assistants into the strongest woman on Earth, the Lady of Steel. You've probably noticed she's already got abs of steel, so that's not the trick. In order to transform flesh and blood into solid steel, he must first hypnotize her. She fixes her eyes on the crystal pendant. I bet you didn't know that our magician was also a master hypnotist. It looks like she's fallen under his spell. Suddenly, her body goes limp. The magician is now in complete control of her mind and body. She appears lifeless and weak, but not for long. He commands her arm to rise. I told you he was in control of her body. Then he uses his magical powers to infuse her with superhuman strength. Amazingly, her arm is now capable of supporting his entire weight. He repeats the process with her other arm. I wonder if this is how Supergirl got her start. Again, he uses her arm to lift himself off the ground. He makes sure that she's still in a deep trance. Then he calls for his other assistants. They climb up the ladders and get ready to put the Lady of Steel to the ultimate test. It seems impossible, but she is now supporting more than 200 pounds on top of her arms. Is this really the world's strongest woman? Don't bet on it. How did he do it? This trick is done with a little sleight of hand and a lot of help from this ordinary-looking chair. As for the magician's incredible hypnotic powers, he has none. But you probably knew that. Now, here's what you didn't know. While it looks like he's turning his assistant into a Lady of Steel, he's only doing this to block your view. This is so you won't see him secretly pulling out metal bars that are hidden in the back of the chair. This is what it looks like without the assistant. Here's something else you didn't know. The chair is actually made of welded steel. It's painted to look like wood. It's also bolted to the ground, so it can't move. Although it appears that the assistants are climbing out onto her arms, they are actually standing on the metal bars. This requires excellent balance and coordination. Meanwhile, our Lady of Steel must keep her arms perfectly still so the audience can't see the bars. And that's how it's done. Now for a classic illusion. The vanishing scarves. First, the magician shows you that these are ordinary scarves. They look pretty ordinary. Then he stuffs the scarves inside a glass tube. Watch carefully and see if you can figure out the trick. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Presto. The scarves are gone. How did he do it? You've heard that the hand is quicker than the eye. Well, this trick proves that scarves are even quicker. What you don't see is that the scarves are hooked to a short piece of fishing line that runs up the magician's sleeve, behind his back, and along his other arm. When he extends his arms, the fishing line is pulled tight, and the scarves disappear into his sleeve. Even in slow motion, it's hard to see. We always knew that the masked magician had something up his sleeve. Now, our magician will defy the laws of physics and walk through this solid brick wall. First, he'll demonstrate his amazing powers with the help of this ordinary egg. He pushes the egg into the wall, and it vanishes. on the other side, he magically pulls the egg through the solid wall. Yes, the egg is real. And so's the mess. Now it's the magician's turn to pass through the wall. Special screens are brought out. Watch as his shadow moves toward the wall, then disappears into it. Now the assistant gets a chance to try out her dramatic skills. She acts as if the magician is stuck inside. She looks and listens for any signs of life. The screens are brought around to the other side of the wall, and the process is reversed. Now it seems as if the magician is emerging from the center of the wall. The screens are removed, and the trick is complete. Now, let's find out how it was done. For starters, the wall really is made of solid brick, so that's not the trick. As for the egg, well, from this reverse angle, we can see that this is a simple palming trick, like when your favorite uncle makes a quarter disappear, then reappear out of your ear. Take another look from the front. While it looks as if the magician is pushing the egg into the wall, from the reverse shot, we can see it's really just tucked behind his thumb. It remains hidden in his hand as he makes his way to the other side of the wall. From the front, the egg is still concealed from view. But with the reverse angle, we can see how he makes it appear as if the egg is coming straight out of the wall. He cracks it open to prove that he wasn't using a collapsible egg. Now the assistants bring out the screen. A light is turned on so you can see the magician's shadow. Here's what it looks like from the front. As the magician moves toward the wall, our magical lighting director slowly fades the light. It now seems as if the magician has disappeared into the wall. After moving to the side of the screen, he makes his escape. The assistant examining the wall is merely a distraction that allows the magician to get inside the screen. As the assistants move the screen to the other side of the wall, you can clearly see that the magician is walking inside. This must be done carefully, or the audience might see his feet or shadow. That would pretty much ruin the trick. The screen is put back into place and the process is reversed. He moves forward as if magically materializing from the center of the wall. But we all knew that it was just one big trick.
Still to come, the trick that may reveal the greatest secret of all, the master magician's true identity, when magic's biggest secrets are finally revealed.
I thought you were gonna buy some Bud Light.
Do you see any Bud Light?
No.
Well then.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Where'd you find that one?
It takes more than just secrets to make these illusions appear so amazing. It's the showmanship of the magician that creates the ultimate effect. Let's go back inside.
For his next trick, the masked magician will bring this ancient suit of armor to life. His assistants wheel out a large crate and move it into position. Both the front and back doors are opened,
and the magician makes his entrance. Piece by piece, he begins to build the suit of armor. It is made of solid steel and once fully constructed will weigh more than a full-grown man. This is one of magic's oldest illusions. Some believe that it dates back more than a century. As the suit begins to take shape, you can almost feel the life force flowing into the armor. At least I can. The magician fastens the right arm to the torso. Let me assure you that there is no place to hide inside the crate. Now for the other arm. He picks up the helmet and puts it in place. Finally, the suit of armor is complete. The doors are closed. First the front door, then the back. But wait, the magician has forgotten one very important piece, the sword. This is supposedly the key to the armor's magical powers. The assistants perform a ritual dance. I'm not sure if that's going to help bring the suit of armor to life, but it works for me. When the doors are opened, it looks as if nothing has changed, but looks can be deceiving. The masked magician holds out the sword. Suddenly, the suit of armor comes to life. How is that possible? Here are the secrets. As the crate is slowly brought out, the magician is already inside. And so is an actor dressed in a suit of armor. Notice that when the crate is opened, the back door is opened a split second ahead of the front door. This gives our actor just enough time to hide from view. This simple misdirection makes it appear as if the crate was always empty. Now the magician assembles the suit of armor. Once the front door is closed, the magic really begins. Our actor hustles inside the crate and moves the suit of armor into position so it can be concealed from the audience's view. Outside, our dancers are doing a great job of distracting the audience. This is important because it takes our actor quite some time to strap the suit of armor to the back door. So when the door swings open, the empty suit of armor will be out of view and our actor can take its place. The front door is opened, and the audience has no idea that they are looking at a duplicate suit of armor. Our suit of armor comes to life, and the masked magician has done it again. For his next trick, the masked magician will shoot an arrow straight through his assistant's body, without drawing even a trace of blood. He blindfolded the assistant in order to spare her the horror of looking down the barrel of a loaded gun. The magician moves across the stage and is handed a specially designed rifle. He checks the barrel, then asks for the ammunition he'll need to discharge his weapon. The gun is cocked and ready. Now for the arrow. Since it will be traveling at a high rate of speed, he ties a ribbon around it so you can follow its path through our assistant's body and into the target.
He loads the arrow into the barrel of the gun. Now he's ready to fire. He gets down on one knee, takes aim, bullseye. You can see that the ribbon has traveled straight through our assistant's stomach and into the target. That's gotta hurt. Let's watch it again. The arrow passes through her body and into the center of the bullseye. But where's the blood? And what is the secret? In order to understand how this complicated illusion is achieved, let's check out each of the elements. First, the gun. While it is real, it never actually fires. The shell is a blank that merely creates a puff of smoke when the trigger is pulled. Next, the arrow. Although it's loaded into the gun, it never leaves the barrel. The end of the ribbon is tied to a thin piece of fishing line that is virtually invisible to the naked eye. The fishing line runs behind the magician's arm and body to keep it hidden from view. The ribbon is loosely wrapped around the arrow so it will easily slip off during the trick. When the illusion begins, the fishing line is already strung along a path that runs from the ribbon across the floor and into a metal tube concealed beneath our assistant's dress. The fishing line enters the tube, goes around her body, out the back of the tube, and into a hole in the center of the target. See our magical stagehand behind the target? He's there for a reason. We'll tell you why in a minute. Meanwhile, the fishing line continues out the back of the target and is attached to a sandbag hanging 30 feet above the warehouse floor. At the moment the gun is discharged, the sandbag is released, and its weight pulls the fishing line and ribbon straight through our assistant. Let's take another look. The magician fires. The ribbon is pulled from the gun, through the tube that wraps around the assistant, and into a hole in the target. I know what you're thinking. If the arrow never leaves the gun, then how does it hit the target? Here's the secret. A second arrow is actually concealed within this vertical black stripe. Behind the target, our stagehand waits to release the arrow on cue. See the arrow dropping into position? Seems complicated, but it's really pretty simple once you know the secrets.
Coming up, the amazing secret behind Houdini's famous water torture escape, when magic's biggest secrets are finally revealed.
We don't need surfers in Yellowstone.
For anyone with the courage to stand up for
Fox.
Now, for a trick that threatens to reveal the masked magician's true identity. Here's the setup. One of his assistants plays the role of the executioner. The magician must escape from the bag before the executioner removes his mask and reveals his identity to the entire world. Could this be the trick that ruins the masked magician's career? First, the magician's hands are bound. Then the executioner blindfolds him and places him into the bag. Next, he is positioned behind a three-sided enclosure. The bag is pulled tight and locked. The doors are closed, and the clasps are tied. Now the executioner puts on her hood. She moves all the way around the enclosure. Even though dressed as the executioner, she's still required to dance. Just part of the job. The executioner opens the doors and reveals that the magician is still trapped inside. Will he manage to escape before being unmasked? The doors are closed and secured. The executioner moves around the enclosure one more time. Then she opens the doors again. Time to pull off the magician's mask. But wait, that's the executioner. Then who's under the hood? You guessed it, the masked magician. What a surprise. How did he do it? First of all, when the trick begins, a second assistant is already hiding behind the enclosure as it is rolled onto the stage. The assistant is also dressed in an executioner's robe and hood. But that's not all that's hidden behind the enclosure. There's another executioner's robe and hood, as well as a second magician's mask hanging on the back door. You'll find out why in a minute. Out front, the executioner puts on her hood and begins to dance around back. That's where the first switch happens. The executioner removes her hood while the second assistant takes her place and dances around to the front. Meanwhile, the magician is still locked inside. He unhooks a secret link in his chains so he can free himself from the bag and trade places with the executioner. The executioner grabs the second magician's mask and through a secret back door switches places with the magician. Once inside, the executioner puts on the magician's mask. While all this is happening, the second assistant is out front creating a diversion with a dagger. This gives the executioner enough time to finish putting on the magician's mask and get inside the bag. When the doors are open for the first time, the audience has no idea that a switch has been made. They don't realize that the original executioner is now in the bag pretending to be the magician, while the second assistant is now disguised as the executioner. Meanwhile, the magician is hiding behind the enclosure, putting on the black robe and hood so he will look like the executioner. Now, the second assistant moves behind the enclosure and hands the dagger to the magician. The magician picks up where the second assistant left off and continues around to the front. He opens the doors. The audience thinks it's our magician who's about to be unmasked, but we know better. The mask is removed, revealing the original executioner inside the bag. And with his identity still a secret, it's none other than the masked magician. You've seen magicians make doves magically appear. That's easy. Now you're going to see them disappear. The magician opens a special box. These are real doves. Nice birdie. He loads the first one into the box, then closes the lid. Now for the second dove. Easy there, little fella. In you go. A little hocus pocus, and suddenly, the doves are gone. How did he do it? You're probably thinking the doves are up his sleeve. Well, they're not. From this angle, we can see that the doves really are loaded into the box. Here's the first one. Now the second. Don't send us any letters. They're not being hurt. The lid is secured, and now for the trick. The lid has a secret compartment where the doves are hidden.
When the magician hands the lid to his assistant, she makes sure to conceal the secret compartment. See? There they are. Our two feathered friends perfectly comfortable inside the lid. Not very magical, is it? Now the masked magician will perform an illusion known as the box of pain. Only a true professional should attempt a dangerous trick like this. He opens the box to prove that it is completely empty. This is the unlucky assistant who must endure the box of pain. He makes her kneel down, then puts her head inside the box, where it remains for the entire trick. She has no idea what's in store for her. The box is closed, and her wrists are handcuffed together. Now for the sword. It is a real sword. In fact, it's so sharp it appears to glide straight through the box and into our assistant's head. Quite unpleasant. Now for the daggers. You can almost feel the assistant's pain as the first one is plunged into the box. Since the box is about the size of her head, the natural conclusion is that she's being impaled. She clenches her fist as another dagger is driven into the box. What did she do to deserve this? I can assure you that the assistant's head is inside the box and not behind it. It seems impossible that she's still alive, but she's still moving. That's a relief. Another dagger cuts through the box. Watch as she flinches in pain when the blade is inserted. Hurts just to look at it. Now the box is riddled with blades. But that doesn't stop our magician. There's always room for one more. The final blade is inserted. You might want to cover your eyes for the next part. It won't be pretty. But wait a minute. Her head is gone. A bizarre decapitation? Or just another trick from the masked magician? While it appears that there is no way to survive the box of pain, there actually is a logical explanation. As you can see, the box is much deeper than it appears from the front. This gives the magician plenty of room to insert the blades both in front of and behind our assistant's head. But how did he make it appear that our assistant had been decapitated? The answer is simple. Mirrors. While the magician distracts you with the handcuffs, his other assistants are actually sliding the mirrors into place on the top of the box. So instead of seeing our assistant's head, we are now seeing reflections of the inside walls of the box. From this angle, we can see the mirrors slide into place as our assistant shifts her head backward. The sword also plays an important role in this trick. It covers the seam between the two mirrors, creating the illusion that you are seeing all the way to the back of the box. As for the blades, they are carefully inserted into the box so they surround our assistant's head without cutting into her. The blades come so close that they actually pass through her hair. The doors are opened, and the optical illusion works to perfection. Pretty tricky, huh?
When we return, the masked magician risks his life to reveal the secrets behind magic's most dangerous illusion, Houdini's water torture escape.
Honey?
Yeah. After Beyond Belief, Friday.
Most tricks aren't very dangerous, but this one really is. The masked magician will now risk his life to perform Houdini's famous water torture escape. He inspects the torture chamber to make sure that it is airtight. There are more than 500 gallons of water sealed inside. The lid of the chamber is lifted, and the magician begins mentally preparing for this dangerous trick. His wrists are handcuffed by one of his assistants. Now his feet are shackled inside the lid. Once he is tightly secured, the crane hoists him into the air. Timing is crucial in a trick like this. Blood is rapidly rushing to the magician's head, increasing the odds that he will lose consciousness while underwater. He is trying to keep calm and lower his heart rate so he can hold his breath as long as possible. Again, this is a dangerous trick that requires tremendous physical skill. He is put into position. He takes one final breath and gives the signal that he is ready. Into the water he goes. Since there is no extra room in the chamber, water begins to pour out onto the floor. The assistants secure the lid and lock it closed. Now the magician has been underwater for almost 30 seconds. The curtain comes up. How long can he hold his breath? Hopefully, long enough. We move completely around the chamber to prove that he has not merely slipped out the back. He hasn't. The curtain is now partially raised. The magician is still inside, struggling to escape. Will he make it? The curtain goes down again. Time is running out. The tension is mounting. It's going to take some real magic to get out of this one. The curtain goes up. But where is our magician? There he is. A little out of breath, but none the worse for wear. How did he do it? The key to this daring escape is in the lid of the chamber. You can see that the magician's feet are shackled and that the lid is locked down tight. You can also see that the locks are real. But what you don't see is the assistant sliding the pins out of the hinges of the lid. So even with the locks on, the lid is easily opened. When the curtain is raised, the magician uses a handle hidden inside the lid to pull himself up. He pops through the unlocked lid and takes a much-needed breath. He drops down again, and the lid closes back into place. He dives to the bottom of the chamber and begins to struggle just in time to show the audience that he is still underwater. When the curtain goes down again, he removes the handcuffs, which are specially rigged for just such a trick. See how quickly he breaks free? Once loose from the handcuffs, he uses the handle to pull himself up and completely out of the torture chamber. He closes the lid to make it appear as if it is still locked tight. While the audience is wondering if the masked magician is still alive, he is merely waiting for his cue. The curtain goes up, and Houdini couldn't have done it any better.
If you want to know more of magic's biggest secrets, call 1-800-230-5557 for a video cassette of tonight's program featuring never-before-seen footage. We've even included a special bonus trick. So call 1-800-230-5557 and the secrets will be revealed. Magic's biggest secrets finally revealed. We'll be back in a moment.
The 29th Image Award.
Time for our magician to go back into hiding and start preparing for our next show. I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. I'm Mitch Plexie. Good night.
The trial.
Were you and Mr. Hunter ever lovers?
Okay, here we go. This is where we make good on this. You all right? Seriously, colored ink. Any color you want. You pick the color tomorrow. It's my way of making this up to you. I feel horribly for embarrassing you on network television or CBS, you know. The category over here, it's the top 10 list, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I was supposed to do earlier. Seriously, you want to go to a movie later?
Okay.
All right, what would you like to see?
Whatever you want.
All right, thank you. The category tonight, top 10 signs your stockbroker is in a panic. This is exact Park. We'll go see that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll be right back with the lovely Amy Grant.
Go, sell tickets for the play. Yes, that's a very good idea. If we're going to have an audience, we're going to have to sell tickets.
Okay. I'll go print some tickets. But if I don't make any more noise, can I watch a little longer? Please?
All right. Now, maybe we can continue without any more interruptions. Pick it up, Juliet.
I hear some noise within. Adieu, sweet love. I hear some noise within. I hear some noise within.
Yeah. Henrietta, that's your cue. Henrietta.
He's sound asleep.
Oh, I give up. This is too much.
Oh, now, Charlie, don't give up. The main thing is to keep going. After all, as Shakespeare said, the play's the thing.
I don't know. Everything seems to be going wrong.
Please, Charlie, we need you as a director.
Yes, and we owe it to our public to go ahead with the play.
Well, you're right. Besides, we can't let Shakespeare down by giving up.
Well, I'm coming down.
Wake up, Henrietta.
Great plays are a source of inspiration. They last from generation to generation. They are not boring, especially when brought to life. Most everyone can understand them. They can even help you see the light.
If you ignore them, you'll be missing a great experience. Someday you might even think Shakespeare is magnificent.
He is not boring, especially when brought to life. Most everyone can understand him. He can even help you see the light. Great plays are a source of inspiration. They last from generation
let's give it one more try. What do you say? Yeah, okay. Places.
Where can you... Oh, you got the right day, all right.
And the right month?
Yeah, you got the right month.
Then what could be the matter?
Well, you have the wrong year. These tickets are for a year from today.
Oh, well, at least that'll give us plenty of time to practice.
That's a good idea, Freddie.
Hey, that's a great idea. You know what they say, you can't practice Shakespeare too much.
Oh, is that what they say? I thought it was a rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Did that go for a lily, too?
Well, yes, Shakespeare did say that, Henrietta, and a lot of other wonderful sayings, too. And do you know the more we study and read Shakespeare, the more we can appreciate what a really great writer he was.
Well, enough of this chit-chat. Now, don't forget it's only a year before curtain time.
Oh, y'all sound just like a big shot director, CB.
That's because I am a big shot director. Now, let's get started. Amy Jo, get up back on the balcony again there.
Okay, let me get my rose.
Okay, everybody, shape up this time now. Okay. Well, now what? Freddie, I told you no thunder or lightning in this scene.
Oh.
Okay, all right, now.